about my mentor and very loving teacher, late Zafar Alam. And that was captioned to Sir with love. Now in this regard, I would like to confide in you, or rather disclose to you, that in the coming Sal Soul shows, dramatic poetry recitation sessions and unusual performances will be presented to afford some semblance of entertainment for our favorite viewers. I hope you like them because they'll be of a different kind, but basically poetry written mostly by myself, and they are mostly of the type called sonnet poetry. Now, today, in the connection of 24th October, which is the United Nations Day, it's called the UN Day, 24th of October. I wrote a sonnet, a poetry, which is captioned, "Peace We Live For." Why this caption or the title? Is because I saw very closely the United Nations when I worked on an assignment on deputation from the government of Pakistan to the United Nations for a peacekeeping mission. And I believe, after having seen about 3 or 4 years of my interesting stay of wartime, a bloody civil war in former Yugoslavia, it was an unique experience that I saw the efforts the United Nations as a world body makes to bring about peace on the planet. So, I have done a narrative, of course, on peacekeeping, but today I will do a poetry, a sonnet that I wrote, the Shakespearean style sonnet of 14 lines, 3 stanzas and 1 couplet. I will not go into details of how this is done because I did one show earlier regarding how a sonnet is written. I will repeat that after some time when I do some other sonnet, and in which it will be interesting for you to know how sonnet rhyming takes place, how sonnet meters are written, and how the last couplet is an expression of a love bird, the singing bird. Okay, now, you see, earlier I had told you about the teacher. So before I start the recitation, I remember I was telling you, my good viewers, interesting stories or anecdotes. And I used to also tell you about the phrases and proverbs that one must try and remember. And I used to call, or rather take notes or quotations from a small book called 1001 things to make you smile. This is all about smiling. So, in this regard, in the context of teacher, I have an interesting, joke, you can say, or, just a humor in jest. The title of this humor in jest is Mismatch. Mismatch. A teacher says, "Roger, do you know you are wearing one red sock with blue stripes and one blue sock with red spots?" He says, "Roger, do you know you are wearing one red sock with blue stripes and one blue sock with red spots?" So Roger, his friend, or the teacher's friend, or you can say teacher's student. He says, yes, miss, and I have got another pair just like it at home. I have got another pair just like it at home. This is a pun, a humor in jest. Okay. Another interesting one, which is more like a more on international sphere, is called secret admiration. On a visit to Soviet Russia, an American reporter stopped a man in the street and asked him what he really thought of Stalin, the famous leader of Soviet Russia. What he thought of Stalin. The man who was questioned, he replied. He looked rather, first of all, alarmed. He got alarmed by the question. The man looked alarmed. He glanced over his shoulder, looked over his shoulder whether anybody was around, and wanted to be sure and that there was no one around. So he then came close to the reporter, and once he had checked that no one was listening, he said, rather he whispered in his ears, actually, I rather like him. Actually, I rather like him. This is, the Soviet Russia. The man who is a Soviet citizen replied to the American reporter. Interesting. Okay. That being the preamble of my narrative today, I will, as I said earlier, I will do a recitation of a sonnet that I wrote on UN Peace Day of 24th of October. And the caption is, Peace We'll Live For. So, paramount is the way we choose to live. Paramount is the way we choose to live. Enormity is not one that matters. Enormity is not one that matters. Amassing assets non-stop, none to give. Amassing assets non-stop, none to give. Cease all afflictions. Cease all affliction. See, nothing clatters. Amassing assets non-stop, none to give. Cease all afflictions. See, nothing clatters. This is the second stanza. Eternal friendship, community seeks. Eternal friendship, community seeks. Marathon chase we do. Marathon chase we do for love and trust. Eternal friendship, community seeks. Marathon chase we do for love and trust. Across the world, fraternity sure meets. Across the world, fraternity sure meets, teeming and beaming, moving pretty fast. Teeming and beaming, moving pretty fast. So, across the world, fraternity sure meets, teeming and beaming, moving pretty fast. Toward a harmony life indeed needs. Toward a harmony life indeed needs. Essence it is, for happiness it is. Essence it is, for happiness it is. Recurring happily as gender reads. Recurring happily as gender reads. Sunshine walking into our lives with ease. Sunshine walking into our lives with ease. Us, this is the last couplet. That was the third stanza, now the last couplet of 2 lines. Us trying to build peace, like the United Nations, people, members of the United Nations, us trying to build peace within, really. The peace begins from inside first. It says, us trying to build peace within, really. Striving for peace without, striving for peace without, that is outside. Striving for peace without, that comes easily, or rather neatly. Striving for peace without, that comes neatly. Once again, to repeat the last couplet, which is the key of the sonnet, the soul and heart of the sonnet. It says, us trying to build peace within, really, striving for peace without, striving for peace without, that is outside, that comes neatly. The peace that comes neatly. That's it. So, this is what I say, peace, all about peace. The UN symbolizes, UN caters to, and UN always makes it sure that it strives and gets peace the world over. That is why the caption of the sonnet is, peace we live for. Peace we live for. Peace we seek. Peace we love. Peace within, peace without. If you have peace inside you, you will have peace outside for the world, for the people. Well, so that was a piece, poetic piece, sonnet. Now I will come to the actual narrative of my presentation today, of my talk show today. But before doing that, I would like to quickly mention, about the cricket. On 24th of October in the afternoon, Pakistan played India. And this was the first match in the World Cup. And Pakistan did a marvelous job. Right? Pakistan won the match by 10 wickets. Fantastic. Bravo to the team. Hats off to Pakistan Cricket Board, and congratulations, my dear people, the viewers, the countrymen. But in this context, I will talk about it in another session for my narrative. But one quick line, or rather my feeling, is that most of you, in fact all those who are watching the TV, have seen at the end of the match, of the game, the Indian skipper, Virat Kohli, walked up to our captain, Babar Azam, and also Rizwan. They were standing together. And he said, congratulations, bravo, you've done well. And he was patting, Rizwan and Babar. That was fantastic. That was a very good gesture. This is called team spirit. This is called sportsman spirit. The sportsman spirit is very important. And as I earlier had recited a poem on peace. Peace we live for. This kind of thing, this kind of gesture is exactly that. You seek peace. You seek trust. You give respect and get back respect. That is important. So sports and games are the area where people can interact looking for peace, looking for trust, looking for and giving respect and love. That is the key to seeking and getting peace. So, my dear, very good viewers, I will now give a little details more in the context of UN Day, a symbol for global unity. You see, the UN Day is a symbol for global unity. Like every year, on 24th of October, it is the day of the United Nations when the UN celebrates the anniversary of the day in 1945 when the UN Charter came into being. The UN Charter, most important document, it came into being in 1945. So this is the day which is the anniversary of that particular day when the document was signed into, is the UN Day. So UN Day offers the opportunity to amplify our common agenda and reaffirm the purpose and principles of the UN Charter that have guided us on 21st of October at UNGA, New York, United Nations General Assembly in New York. Sponsored by the Permanent Mission at that time. It was sponsored by the Permanent Mission of the Republic of Korea to the United Nations. Permanent Mission to the United Nations of the Republic of Korea. Under the UN Day 2021 theme, Building Back Together for Peace and Prosperity. That's the theme, you see, of this year, 2021. Building back together, all in unison together for peace and prosperity. If anybody or any group, any nation wants to achieve peace, there has to be a togetherness. There has to be unison, unified effort, and that will lead to peace and prosperity. So, this year's UN Day concert, in every year, the UN headquarters, that's in New York, they organize special event, and it's usually a concert. So this year's UN Day concert was a hybrid format with part live and part pre-recorded performances. They were all shown online with a small audience following physical distancing protocols. COVID-19, you have to be still very, very careful. It is on the decline, but it's not over yet. Right? As the world begins gradually to recover, as I said earlier, from the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 concert represents a call to strengthen international cooperation in the interest of both nations and peoples for a more peaceful and prosperous future for all. In this regard, I would like to just highlight one element of humanity. Humanitarianism is an active belief in the value of human life, whereby humans practice benevolent treatment and provide assistance to other humans in order to better humanity for moral, altruistic, and logical reasons. This humanitarianism is what the UN, as world-recognized body, is mandated to profess, foster, and achieve. They ensure that humanitarian issues bring together all peoples who act in good faith, trying to alleviate the suffering of people in dire need, especially women, children, and elderly. So what do? You utilize the occasion, you remember the contributions of the United Nations as a body, then you try all together to bring about peace and try and reduce, alleviate the suffering of people, those who are in terrible need and those who are particularly women, children, and the elderly. So, in the context of UN peacekeeping, I would like to just quickly mention, and as I had said earlier, I was a part of this in the mid-90s, and it was in Yugoslavia. I had gained a fantastic experience, even to the extent of becoming a hostage at gunpoint. All right? Those who triggered, they were the Serbs at that time. They didn't know. I became a hostage. But it was a very interesting experience. I was a little afraid in the beginning, but the last two and a half weeks, it was a fantastic experience I gained. So I'll tell you about that on another occasion, in another Salsoul segment. Now, like it or not, war shapes the world. Wars and conflicts decide political boundaries. The changing contours of modern conflict, that includes hybrid war. Hybrid war. The contours of modern conflict, that includes hybrid war. Hybrid, you know what hybrid means. Combination of the past, the conventional and the modern warfare. That's the hybrid war. Have transformed the battlefields in the world, including South Asia, which is one of the significant epicenters of instability in the globalized world. In this context, the hybrid threats to the security of Pakistan have become an exceptional fusion of fervent, irregular warfare and lethality of state conflict, that is, terrorism, insurgencies, cyber attacks, weaponization of social media. My God, how do you weaponize the social media? Another very important element. Talk about it another time. So terrorism, insurgencies, cyber attacks, weaponization of social media, resource warfare, territorial seminar program disputes, and electronic media war. See, these are the things which have come about over the last several decades. And the combination of all these elements, ruthlessness, they all can be described as extreme and terroristic. So that is hybrid war. Equally horrifying was the warfare in civil riots in former Yugoslavia, I was mentioning earlier, that caused havoc in the Slavic communities of disparate ethnicity, different backgrounds, Slovenes, Serbs, Croatian, Montenegrins, Bosniaks, Muslims, Gypsies, and so on and so forth. So, of disparate ethnicity that led to years-long conflicts. In that, your host, Salahuddin, got involved when deputed to the United Nations as a UNPA subsector chief in the UN peacekeeping mission, Yugoslavia, 1993-1997. And proudly speaking, I'm proud today, I was able to help resolve a number of issues shrouded in a long-drawn Serbs-Croatian conflict by taking the cultural and human approach. The cultural and human approach. That was the approach that I adopted. at that time. You see, and the cultural diplomacy that became handy to me, which I coined, I developed in my own context, in the approach that was evolved. The cultural diplomacy in dealing with the involved parties with dignity and respect. I mentioned earlier about peace. It's all about dignity, respect, self-respect. You have your respect for yourself. You give respect to the others. So, involved parties with dignity and respect, and not coercing, not compelling anyone into anything by the thrust of the UN mandate. No, it was not necessary. We didn't have to, because although there was a UN mandate, but my approach was not to tell the parties that you are under compulsion to do it. No, I tried to win over their hearts, their respect and trust. That gave the answer. And I feel proud even today. And I'm not boasting, but it's a fact. I'm proud of that till today. As things move, as world changes, there are many things that we do not remain aware of. And of course, of all these, most important is peace. Paradoxical as it may seem, ours is a world which survives and moves forward on a balancing factor. Human race creates situations and conflicts and then goes to find ways to resolve them. It's only natural. You create the conflicts, then of course as human beings you have to find ways to end them, and that is very natural. The human race creates situations and conflicts and then goes to find ways to resolve them. So, achieving peace without, to attain peace outside, to achieve peace beyond frontiers. So, achieving peace without is by building peace within first. Building peace inside you first. That is the prime factor. So, as I was concluding today's narrative, and here I am before you, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you once again that the UN Day on 5th of October, was it? No. The UN Day on the 24th of October is a day for us all to remember what we try to achieve, and that is peace. United Nations, in many ways, as a world body, is symbolic of that. So before I close my narrative today, I would like to reiterate two themes, one of year 2020 and the other one 2021. Both are very important and very close to my heart, and I'm sure you also will like them very much. So the theme of year 2020 is, or was, Women in Peacekeeping, a key to peace. Women in peacekeeping is a key to peace. For peacemaking, peace building, preservation, etc., etc., even building peace is very close to the fact that women play a very, very important role. Because the women, they are the mothers, they are the sisters, they are the homekeepers, they are the ones who look after yours and our children. And that is why women enjoy certain metabolic or chemistry which only they have compared to men. They have the patience, they have the caliber, and they enjoy looking after children. And that is why they also have the capacity to build peace. The second one is the year 2021, that is this year. The theme of 2021 for the United Nations Day is the road to a lasting peace. The road to a lasting peace is by leveraging the power of youth for peace and security. Youth, mind you, is very important. So, the road to a lasting peace is by leveraging the power of youth for peace and security. You have to depend on the younger people. And I have my viewers, most of them, most of you are young, and you are the future. You, the young people, have the capacity, natural capacity, to bring about peace in a much faster way, and that leads to security. So that was the theme of the year 2021, the United Nations Day. So my dear good viewers, here is your host Salahuddin Choudhry, having enjoyed you as the audience, the listeners, the viewers. I hereby close my narrative of today. Thank you very much, my good viewers, ladies and gentlemen, and the younger people. Assalamu alaikum.